don't know about you guys, but I personally deal with anxiety quite a bit. It's often this really uncomfortable sensation that lives in the pit of my stomach. Today we're going to be specifically talking about magic for anxiety. These are ways that I have been personally coping with my own anxiety, and I hope that they help you too. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, welcome to the family. My name is Dina. I am so happy to have you guys here. I just want to first start off this video by saying that these techniques that you're going to be learning about in this video are not a replacement for therapy. They are not a replacement for your medication. So if you do have severe anxiety, I highly recommend seeing a professional first. These are just other techniques that may help to calm your mind, calm the spirit, calm the body, and those times where you're feeling very uncomfortable and you're having, a bit of an anxiety episode. I have not formally been diagnosed with anxiety, but it's something that I definitely live with on a daily basis. And these are things that have definitely helped me personally. I do find my magical practice is really helpful in my own mental health and self-care routine. So I definitely wanted to share this with you because I thought, if this helps me, maybe it could help somebody else. Now, the first practice I want to share with you is actually a meditative practice. So this meditative practice involves singing a mantra. And the reason why this is helpful for me is because it actually gets my head out of the rumination loop that I often find myself trapped in. I don't know if any of you have dealt with this, but I have a long-standing history of dealing with rumination. And basically rumination is when thoughts or events or something that maybe happened that upset you, or maybe you said something that you wish you said differently, or whatever it may be, it tends to just play over and over and over and over again in your mind, and it can literally make you feel like you're going crazy. So when you're in this rumination loop, I find a big way to get out of it is to kind of focus in on something else. It's really hard to get out of it unless you're almost distracting yourself in a way, and I don't think that you should necessarily distract yourself. I think you should, deal with things that are coming up, deal with your emotions, and that's not necessarily what this is. It's kind of refocusing my energy on something else, and then in hindsight I can look back and be like, okay, I really didn't need to obsess over this, whatever it is. When you're in that state of mind, you almost blow things out of proportion, and then in hindsight when you look back, you're like, okay, this actually wasn't that big of a deal, but my mind just made it feel like it was. So what I actually do is I choose a mantra. I just play it on my Spotify. I sit, I close my eyes. I'll often hold a crystal to my chest just because the cold temperature of the crystal for some reason is really calming, but just like the energy of the crystal is also very calming. Use whatever works for you. I find rose quartz is just a very delicate, gentle energy and something that I need at that time. So I often do reach for a rose quartz, but you're just gonna close your eyes and you're gonna sing along with the mantra. Now it could be any mantra that you choose. I specifically chose Vayanti mantra. I don't know why. There's something about it that I felt very calming. I'll put the lyrics up on the screen for you to see, but I found this mantra very grounding, very relaxing for me. And when you're focused on repeating the words of the mantra, your mind can't really wander back to this thing that you're ruminating on and having anxiety about because you're so focused on singing the mantra. There's something about the repetitious nature of a mantra song that it's like it's giving your mind that repetition that you're getting from the rumination, but in a different, healthier way. If that makes any sense, I don't know why this works so well. If anyone has any other light to shed on this, let me know. But there's something about the repetitious nature of the mantra that helps my brain focus in on that and repeat that instead of repeating the toxic thoughts and anxieties that I was repeating in my mind before that. By the end of the song, I felt, I'm not even kidding, like 95% better. The anxiety was basically gone. And I'm not saying again that this is a cure, this may not work for everyone, but for me, this did wonders for my anxiety. The next thing I find that really helps to calm my anxiety is working with cards. So I actually came up with a tarot spread specifically for anxiety that I could use whenever I get into these states and I need a little bit of, peace of mind, a little bit of calming. This may not work for everyone, everyone, but I personally find working with cards very relaxing. So this is something that definitely worked for me. Now, the first card that you pull is going to be what is currently triggering my anxiety. The second card that you pull is what does my inner child want me to know? The third card that you pull is what needs to be released at this time. And the fourth card you pull is how can I find inner peace? Once you've pulled all these cards, you can sit and really reflect on it, take a look at the imagery, the symbolism, and the cards, basically get to the bottom of where this anxiety is being triggered. The reason why I incorporated the inner child element is I find a lot of the time, a lot of our anxieties today are from things that started when we were way younger. Like, for example, I know for a fact a lot of my anxiety is triggered because of the social anxiety and the feelings of basically the low self-worth, self-esteem issues that I dealt with at a very, very young age. Basically, my entire childhood has come with me in adulthood because it doesn't leave us. It sticks with us forever. We always have to work on that. So I find, using these cards as a tool to reflect and kind of get to the bottom of that and also seek some sort of peace and resolution within the cards is very helpful and very therapeutic. The next thing that you can do is actually more of a spell. So this one is a anxiety banishing spell with a candle. It's a very simple candle spell. You don't need a lot of ingredients. If you don't have the ingredients that I have specifically, you can also just make do and, change the recipe up a little bit. So for this spell in particular, I chose a black candle. Black candles are very symbolic of banishing. So whenever I'm trying to banish negative energy, anxiety, whatever it may be, I always use a black candle, but again, use whatever color speaks to you. If you don't have access to spell candles, get tea light candles from the dollar store. Like, anyone can get their hands on those. So you're gonna need a candle, you're gonna need an anointing oil. I actually use my psychic oil from my video, which I'll actually link below if you guys haven't seen that video before and you want to make the psychic oil. This psychic oil actually comes in handy for so many things. Although you can use it for, intuition work, dream work, lucid dreaming, astral projection, whatever it may be, you could also anoint your spells with it. And the way I see it is this psychic oil is very much obviously connected to the spirit and the mind, which is also related to anxiety in a way, right? Like, anxiety lives in the mind, it lives in the brain. So I found that it also kind of works with this situation as well. Plus, the base of my psychic oil is actually black castor oil, which is very sticky, and a stickier oil is better for anointing candles because whatever you decide to put on the candles, whatever herbs or salts or whatever, is gonna stick better. But basically, I rubbed this oil all over the candle and then I anointed it with a couple different types of salt. So I specifically use black salt and also just regular table salt. The white salt is definitely more of a cleansing, protective, purification type salt. It kind of has that light, delicate, peaceful energy with that more intensive energy just to kind of like kick the anxiety out. Now, black salt is specifically good for banishing negative energies. It's a very protective salt, but not just protective, it gets rid of the negative stuff that's already there. It's very cleansing, it's very purifying, it's very good for stubborn negative energy that you need to get rid of. So I use those two. You're also going to need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil to write down whatever you're having anxiety about. Let it all out, let the words flow. Don't think too much about it. Don't put pressure on yourself to figure it out. If you can't completely pinpoint your anxiety, that's okay too. Just write down what you're feeling, write down what you want to release, and really infuse the energy of what does it feel like to you right now? Where do you feel the anxiety? Then you're gonna fold this paper up and you're gonna place it underneath your candle. You can do this in whatever order that you want. You can anoint the candle first, you can write your paper out. It really doesn't matter what order that is. Next, you're gonna light the candle and you're gonna speak the incantation. Now, I have created an incantation of my own that you are welcome to use, or you're welcome to write your own. It really doesn't matter, whatever feels good to you. The incantation that I wrote is, with this candle, I release the anxiety gripping tight on me. May I breathe deeply, see things clearly, trust infinitely, and feel at peace in my body. So mote it be. And you can say so mote it be, you can say and so it is. There's so many different ways to close an incantation or a spell. It really just depends on what you choose to say. Then I actually like to sit and meditate on the candle for a bit. I like to look into the flame because it's really relaxing and just feel the anxiety leave your body. Feel whatever, has been stuck in your body. Feel that go away. Take some deep breaths. A lot of time when we're anxious, we're not breathing correctly. We're taking very shallow breaths. I like to let the candle burn completely through. You are definitely welcome to blow it out if you want. Some people may prefer to do this because, blowing it out is like releasing and banishing that negative energy. So do whatever speaks to you. The final thing we're going to talk about is an anxiety salve. Now, this is something that definitely takes a lot more time and work. So it's something that you're going to want to prepare ahead of time. Don't decide to do this when you are in the midst of an anxiety attack or, anxieties really come on hard. You're not going to be in a good state of mind to create this. And that's kind of the case with any sort of spell or ritual. A lot of these rituals, I said, are very simple, but when it comes to doing magic when you're not in the best state of mind, it can be really hard because magic definitely takes energy. So what I recommend doing is planning ahead of time. You know that you deal with anxiety. You know that you have ups and downs in your mental health. So be prepared before it happens. Have things ready for you so when you need it the most, it is ready. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do too much work. You can even pre-anoint your candle ahead of time so it's ready when you need to use it. But the salve is definitely one of those things that you want to do ahead of time so then when you need it, you could just use it when you're having anxiety. So for the salve, you're gonna need an infused oil. Now there's different ways to do this, just different ingredients that you can use. For mine specifically, I used olive oil, I used lavender, I used basil, and I also used sage. Now you're gonna put these all in a jar. You're gonna fill the jar up with the herbs about 3/4 way and then the rest with the olive oil or whatever oil base that you choose. And then you're gonna let it sit and infuse in the oil for 3 to 6 weeks.
You're also going to need your oil of choice, some herbs for decoration if you choose, and also beeswax. And I also used a scale just to measure out my beeswax and a cutting board to chop it up. Now you're going to want to create a double boiler to melt the ingredients, specifically the beeswax. Ideally, you'd like to use a bowl of water that fits perfectly over the pot so that no steam escapes. However, this is all I had available for me, so I just made do. Next, you're going to take your block of beeswax and you're going to cut a piece off of it. This recipe calls for 1 ounce of beeswax. I was having some difficulty cutting into the block of beeswax, so I decided to try and heat the knife up with some hot water. Slowly but surely, this technique helped. I had some difficulty finding my original recipe for herb infused oil, so I started using another recipe which called for heating the oil up in a pan before straining the herbs from the oil. So I decided to do this too. It doesn't hurt to get all the herbs infused into the oil better. Make sure to dispose of the herbs in a compost bin. Next, you're going to use your double boiler to melt both the oil and the beeswax together. Once the beeswax has completely melted, you can pour it into a jar. I used a funnel to make the process a lot easier. Use whatever jars you'd like. I chose to use these jars that I had from skincare products that had finished. I just really like to reuse what I have. Before the salve dries, this is the time that you can add your essential oils of choice if you choose. I decided to infuse my salves with a little extra intention by adding dry herbs and crystals to the top of them. You have to make sure the salve's dry enough first before you do this, or else it'll fall through. Now you have a personal salve charged with your intentions for use whenever you feel like you have some anxiety.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out in some way. If you do end up trying any of these practices, please let me know down below in the comments, how did they work for you? Did you change any of them in any way to fit your personal needs? What other things do you personally do in your magical practice to ease your anxiety? I definitely want to know. I love to hear your personal experiences if you're willing to share. I think there's so much to be gained from sharing our experiences and finding ways to help ourselves and help each other, because ultimately there's strength in that sort of community. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys have an amazing day or night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.